from the...
Okay, so this really could be number one. Maybe I should have, maybe I should have made this number one. The first thing, or the last thing, whichever one you want to put it at. Hello, how are you? My name is Teresa, and I am the owner and founder of Creative Bliss Candle Bar. And today on this channel, really on any day, if you're interested in learning about candle making, is it right for you, owning a candle business, and just overall being a small business entrepreneur, then this is the channel for you. So you decided that you want to open your own candle business, or you think you want to do candle making as a side hustle, or it's something you really want to take that hobby and take it to the next level. There are 5 things that I believe that you need to ask yourself before you delve into the world of being an entrepreneur. I know the pandemic, there were a lot of people who thought candle making was the thing for them because it was an easy startup. The costs to get started were low. But if you are wanting to take it to the next level where you actually want your own candle business, there are some things that you really need to ask yourself. And the first of them is, do you really like to make things? Is this something that you can see yourself doing day in and day out? Like, this is your business. Is this something that you really feel like that you want to do? Do you want to be constantly making candles of every different type, of every different color? Do you want to be working with the public to sell your candles? Are you willing to do what it takes to not only make them, but to also market them? And I know that right now, again, with the pandemic, and it makes it seem very, very easy, but you have to ask yourself, is this something that you want to spend the rest of your days doing, day in and day out? So the first thing is are you creative? Do you like to actually make things with your hands, or are you that person who sometimes you do, sometimes you don't? If you are thinking about doing candle making as a business, that's going to be something that you're going to actually have to like to do. So if you're checking the box, then kudos to you. And we're going to move on to what I believe is the second thing you need to ask yourself if you want to have a candle making business. So the second thing you need to ask yourself is, do you even have the patience to learn the science and the art of candle making? Candle making is just like soap making, an art and a science. There is a lot of work that goes into making a high quality candle, and it is more than just going to your local craft shop and picking up the latest kit that they have, and getting it done. So fun fact, when I first started making candles the first time, I absolutely hated it. And I hated it because I did not take the time to actually understand what was going on with the candle, the chemistry behind it, the fragrance oils, how the waxes played into it, what kind of quality wax did I have? Did I have a quality wax? I just got completely frustrated and put it to the side. Here we are years later, and candle making is something that I absolutely love to do because I now understand the science of it. It is literally more than just heating up wax and throwing in some fragrance oils and creating a candle. You have to test. You're constantly in test mode. We're constantly burning candles here to test and test and test, because we want to make sure that not only are we giving our customers a high quality, luxury quality candle, but we also want to make sure beyond all else that it is safe. So if you do not have the patience to actually learn the different types of waxes, to learn which wicks, to figure out which vessels work best for your candles, then I would strongly recommend you really rethink having your own candle business. But if this is something that you are passionate about, that you actually love to do, then a candle business is right for you. So the third thing you need to consider that I believe to decide if candle making or having a candle making business is right for you is, do you actually have the resources to buy the supplies? Now, I know you're going to see a ton of people on YouTube, on TikTok, on all of these different platforms saying, oh, I only started my business with $20. I'm going to tell you, you cannot even buy a decent candle kit for $20. At minimum, it's going to start at $45, which, you have to just take that into consideration, that is a kit. They have done all of the work for you as far as vessels, but there are so many more other waxes to try. So depending on where you even get your kit from, it may not even be a good quality kit. If you've purchased it off Amazon, no shade, but not the best. So you need to make sure that you at least have the resources to begin your candle business. And you're going to need to be able to buy smaller quantities of different types of waxes to test to see which wax actually works best for you. Do you have to pour this more than once? Do you get sinkholes? You're going to have to purchase vessels, which while vessels can be inexpensive, you have to make sure that they are heat safe and that they actually are designed for candles. So while you can find some candle vessels at your local Dollar Trees, Dollar Generals, most quality vessels, depending on what your brand is going to be vessels that you're going to need to order from a supplier, which the shipping alone is going to be very expensive. So you need to make sure that you have the resources to actually begin your candle business journey. I would recommend on average you have at least $500 set aside. And the reason I say that is because while waxes and vessels can be inexpensive, when you get into those higher quality fragrance oils and just fragrance oils period, they can get very, very costly. And again, you have to factor in the cost of shipping and all of that. So, and don't believe the hype about I started my business with $100, because I can guarantee you they may have gotten their website up for free and they may have made a few candles with wax they already had and actually flipped that money. But to honestly start a healthy business, you're going to need to be ready to invest an amount of resources. So just plan for that. If you're okay with that and you have resources that you set aside specifically just for your candle making business, then candle making is absolutely something that you should consider. If not, you may want to reconsider. So the fourth thing you may want to consider, and that I believe you should consider, is do you actually have the space to start a candle making business? If you're like me, I started out my business in my basement, which I had way more than enough room. My home was 3,000 square feet, or is 3,000 square feet on the top and the bottom. So I had more than enough room to literally start my entire business, my skincare and my candle making business, in my basement. Now, I graduated, of course, to a space because people couldn't come to my home to purchase. But this actually was where I started. But I had plenty of space. You're going to need space for your melting pots. You're going to need space for your heating source. You're going to need space to store your wax. You're going to need space to store your fragrance oils. And you're just going to need to make sure that you have the adequate space, a work table, a workbench that is going to be free of, kids, pets, all of those things. Some people start them in their room. You have to start where you have to start, but you have to make sure that you have an environment that is going to be conducive to your candle making. You're also going to have to store your vessels. And if you're testing a series of vessels, or you're testing a lot of vessels, that can take up a lot of space. It can't just be stuffed into a box or a tote, because they can break. So you're going to have to make sure that you have an adequate storage closet and an adequate space to actually create candles, and to store the candles when they cool, and to also test the candles while you are in the process of making other candles. So just make sure you have the space for candle making. I know that sounds very, very simple, but a lot of people get started and then they realize they have outgrown their kitchen like within a matter of a few deliveries of supplies, and they don't have the actual space for their business. So just make sure you have a dedicated space that is specifically for candle making, so that you can adequately and correctly create the candles that you want to sell to your customers. So the last thing that I think you should really, really consider before you open up a candle business, or any business of any type, honestly, is, are you starting your business because you want to start your business, or are you starting your business because it's a trendy thing to do? And I know that sounds kind of like, really, Teresa? But honestly, I have met a lot of people who thought it was a great idea to start their business because it was trendy, or everyone else is becoming an entrepreneur and they wanted to get into that. Everyone is not built to be an entrepreneur. And I'm not being a negative Nancy. I'm being very, very real with you, which is what you get on this channel, because the life of an entrepreneur is not easy. It's going to require sacrifice. It's going to require a lot of sleepless nights. It's going to require you staying up late to research all of the things that need to be done on a business. And if you're like me, most of the time you're a solopreneur, you're doing a lot of this on your own, planning to delegate a lot of things, but you're going to be the person that's writing the emails, taking the photographs for the website. You're going to be pricing, coming up with this. You're going to be the marketing department. You're going to be the photography department. You're going to be the branding department. You're going to be all things in every business and everything that you see in a business. So if you are not that person who is a person who's going to stick to it, and a person who is going to learn, stay in a constant state of learning, be willing to learn what you don't know, implement what you do know. And while mentorship is good, no one is going to do the work for you. Just know that starting a business because it's trendy, you're not going to last. And starting a candle business, you are definitely not going to last. I cannot tell you how many people I have seen just on YouTube that a year ago in the pandemic, they started their candle business because it was a fun thing to do. It was an easy side hustle, low cost investment. And a year later, they haven't made not another video because for whatever reason, they're no longer in business. So you just want to make sure that you are actually starting your business. And are you starting a business for the long haul, or is this just something you want to do temporarily? So those are the 5 things that I believe that you should have in place, or things that you should think about before you start your business. Again, this is just me sharing with you my experiences and, trying to be a resource to you. So I told you this was going to be a short and sweet video. If you want to check out tools that I have purchased for our candle business, then go ahead and watch the other video that I have for the wax melter that we currently are using in the shop. So that's all I have. Again, my name is Teresa, and I will talk to you all later. Thanks for hanging out with me.